All right, welcome. Today, we're going to crack one of the biggest, most important challenges at any university, building the academic schedule. I want you to think of it as this massive, high-stakes puzzle. And the work you do, it literally impacts every single person on campus. So we're going to walk you through all the key pieces you need to solve it like a pro.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll get a handle on why this is all so important. Then we'll cover your tools and the different kinds of classes you'll be working with. After that, it's all about strategy, how to handle the final stages, and we'll wrap up with some seriously useful pro tips. So let's dive right in.
So let's start with the big question. Why is this puzzle so incredibly important? Well, because every single piece you place on this board, every class you schedule, becomes the official reality for our students and faculty. And that game board, the one place where everything is official, that's PeopleSoft.
And this idea of a source of truth is absolutely critical. What it means is, whatever you build in PeopleSoft, that's it. That's the definitive, official schedule. It's not a draft, it's not a suggestion, it is the real deal. It dictates everything from who teaches what to whether a student can graduate. Every single entry matters. A lot.
And this right here really shows you how high the stakes are. I mean, for faculty, when the schedule is built correctly, they can get their class assignments, see who's in their class, and actually submit grades. For students, it's even more crucial. It's how they enroll, how they get on wait lists, and ultimately, how they see their grades and make progress toward that diploma. Bottom line, your work is the engine that makes the entire academic experience run. No pressure, right?
Okay, first things first. You've got to get on the game board. You can't play if you can't get in, right? The process is actually super straightforward. Just head over to the Identity Management webpage, search for the PeopleSoft Access form, fill it out, and hit Submit. My advice, get this done as soon as you can, way before the schedule build really kicks off.
Okay, I know, this can all feel like a lot, especially when you're just starting out. But I want you to hear this, and it's maybe the most important thing you'll hear today. You are not alone in this. Our team, Sally, Kayla, and Melanie, is your dedicated support crew. Seriously. Whether you have a tiny question or you've hit a major wall, please reach out. We are here to help you succeed.
Okay, so you're in the system and you know you've got backup. Now what? Let's talk about the essential tools and, the rule book you'll need to really start putting this puzzle together effectively.
All right, your absolute #1 tool, your best friend in this whole process, is going to be the Schedule Build Timeline. This is your rule book. It lays out every single deadline, every process, every step from the very beginning to the very end. If you stick to this timeline, you can have a much, much smoother build. Think of it as your roadmap through the whole game.
So, if the timeline is your rulebook, then the course needs report, well, that's your blueprint. This report is amazing. It gives you data-backed projections on what classes students actually need. This means you're not just guessing what to offer, you're making smart, strategic decisions based on real student demand.
Okay, you've got your blueprint, you know what you need to build, now it's time to actually choose your puzzle pieces. And in our world, the pieces are the different types of classes, or what we call modalities. And here's the thing, you have to build each of them a little differently in PeopleSoft.
And this table here, it lays it all out for you, nice and simple. Every class format, whether it's fully in-person or an independent study, has its own special instruction mode code in PeopleSoft. P for in-person, A for hybrid, you get the idea. Getting these codes right isn't just a suggestion, it's absolutely fundamental to making the schedule work.
So you've got the basics down, you understand the pieces. Now let's get into some of the more advanced strategy. It's time to talk about what I like to call the power moves, and the biggest one in your toolkit is puzzling.
Now, there are two flavors of puzzling. First, you've got regular puzzling. Think of this as using your home turf, rooms that are already allocated to your department. You can go ahead and schedule classes in those spaces, no special approval needed. But then there's competition puzzling. This is when you're vying for a shared space, like a big lecture hall. For that, you've got to submit a request and, compete with other departments for that spot.
And look, we totally get it. The rules for puzzling can be a little tricky, especially when you're trying to hit certain capacity targets. But don't worry about it. It's a skill, and it's one you'll definitely get the hang of. And once you master it, it's an incredibly powerful way to make sure your students and faculty get the rooms they need. Okay, so you've built out the main schedule, you've puzzled your rooms, but what happens when there are still classes left without a classroom? This, my friends, is the endgame. This is where we find a home for every last piece of the puzzle.
So, let me introduce you to your new puzzle assistant, the Optimizer. It's basically this super smart algorithm in 25 Live.
It looks at all the leftover classes and all the empty rooms, runs a whole bunch of calculations, and finds the best possible fit for most of them. It does a ton of the heavy lifting for us.
Now, for any classes the optimizer just can't find a home for, we move into the final phase, classroom rush. And you should really think of this as the lightning round. It's this super fast-paced, all-hands-on-deck session where we all work together to manually slot those last few classes into the open spots. It gets a little wild, but it's how we make sure nothing gets left behind.
All right, you've made it through the whole game, from start to finish. So now for the fun part, the pro tips and cheat codes. These are the things that are going to save you a ton of time and, let's be honest, a few headaches down the line.
Okay, rule number 1, and this is a big one. If you see a section for extended learning, an EL section, the rule is simple. Don't touch it. Seriously, these sections are managed in a completely different way, and deleting one can create a huge, huge mess. So always check with our office before you even think about hitting that delete button. Here are a few more quick hitters for you. See a class that's all grayed out? That's probably a combined class. Don't panic. Just email us the details and we'll get it sorted. Next, for classes with multiple parts, like a lab, never ever put a waitlist on that auto-enroll section. The system gets confused and it'll block students from enrolling, even if there are open seats. If a professor has an issue with Cougar courses, that's not us. Please send them over to the right folks. And finally, a couple of things to manage expectations. Permission numbers don't show up until right before enrollment starts, and grade rosters won't appear until the semester is almost over.
We're going to end right where we started because this message is just that important. This puzzle is big, it's complex, but you are fully supported every step of the way. Sally, Kayla, and Melanie are always here for you. Please never, ever hesitate to call, email, or send a Teams chat. We're your partners in all of this.
So, at the end of the day, what are you really doing here? You're not just clicking buttons or entering data into a system. Every single class section you create, every room you assign, that's another critical step on a student's journey to graduation. You are literally building the framework for their future. The puzzle is complex, for sure, but the reward is just immeasurable. So, are you ready to build the future?